Five Blunder website the other day, and actually Ben told me about it. And at the bottom of the page, there's a typo. It's meant to say DIMAC instructors, but it actually says DIM instructors. Right? And I clicked on it, genuinely clicked on it, the first page, the one from Leicester and the one from Scotland. Oh, God. Yeah, I know. It's got. I thought if the shoe fits, you know. So, yeah. Right.
You fight before?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good defense?
Yeah.
Must train different in America. Your defense stinks.
You are the new student. Come closer.
You're listening to the Kung Fu Podcast presented by James Still.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
And Steve Newby.
What I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
Right, everybody, welcome back to the Kung Fu Podcast with me, James Still, and as ever, the meanest man his side of the Rockies, old Steve Newby from Canada. How you doing, old man?
Good. We are getting some nice weather now. It's starting to come out. So,
you can't take the Britain out of you. First thing you'd go to is the weather report.
Yeah. That's all there is to talk about with the COVID, isn't it? What else?
Well, you know. Well, that's why we're here, everybody, to bring a bit of levity in your lives. You know, in the world of traditional kung fu, and we've had some time off, haven't we? About 3 months or so, enjoying it. You know, haven't been up to much. I'll be perfectly honest. We've been out of lockdown and back in lockdown in that time. You've just pretty much had the, freedoms.
Yeah, I've been out today.
What's the world like where you are then? What are you up to? What have you been keeping busy doing?
Just teaching.
Nothing.
The drive-in as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's it.
That's all right.
I should be teaching the classroom soon.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be all right.
Teaching them how to go around roundabouts again.
Related?
Just the things that we've did as far as the for dummies.
Oh, no. You will get us into trouble. So, see, this is a bit of a bone of contention, isn't it? Like among certain circles, because so just to sort of explain, we've done some videos. The first set for dummies, Lau Gar, and we not long ago released the second set for dummies, didn't we? And they're actually being well received, which I'm quite pleased with. Are you?
Yeah, I'm happy with them. Yeah.
So they were quite well received, weren't they?
They were very well received. Yeah. Well, by students.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean by students? No one else, guys.
I don't know, because anybody outside of Lau Gar, who professes to teach Lau Gar, can obviously video themselves doing stuff, and then all the students of people in the BKFA can video themselves doing stuff, and and the nationals can go on video with the seniors, instructors, and YouTube doing stuff. Yeah.
Now the problem is, let me just sort of.
Apparently, you can't show what it's really like. It's like top secret or something.
Apparently, see, we've had some sort of info that as a senior instructor, Steve, as a senior Lau Gar practitioner and guardian, you shouldn't be posting videos about the style. It's because it's
No, we should let
secret,
everybody.
apparently.
Yeah, we should let everybody else post it, and then everybody else can learn it from, you know, other sources, and then look at it and say, you know, that's crap.
If you go on YouTube and you type in Lau Gar, you will be hard pressed to find anything decent in terms of videos. And bear in mind, this style's been around for about what,
50
Jesus,
years.
you know, video camera. So people have been filming it since maybe the 80s, 90s. So you've got about 35 plus years of videos potentially, and nothing good really is on YouTube when you type in Lau Gar. So if you don't know what Lau Gar is, right, you'll see a load of Muppets for the most part, because a lot of people have left the organization. A lot of Muppets profess to do Lau Gar and absolutely butcher the sets.
Yeah,
butcher
I think
them.
the main objection is that you can't be showing a full set. But the thing is,
right,
once you get to understand a set, when you see a small part of it, you're going to find the other part in another video. And so it doesn't make any difference. You can always put them together and go, well, that's how they do that. So that's how you do that. And then you just simply put them together. It's not that you have to see a full set in one go. You can see a full set in snippets of lots of different videos. In fact, you can get so many videos, you can get a general consensus of how it should be. It's like history. It's like digging up a dinosaur. You pick up a few bones and you go, right, this is how it looked. And then you just keep on digging bones until you find out the actual truth. And then you find out, oh, it had feathers.
It's like Jurassic Park. They're birds.
Yeah, but
and that's
it's
the problem.
a typical
People
analogy.
will look at Lau Gar and they'll go, it's crap. It's
well,
crap.
that's the thing that I'm getting, is that people go, you know, that's crap. I went to Wing Chun when I was much younger, and and I started doing Wing Chun, and there was a guy there who had done the Lau with someone. I can't remember his instructor now, but he was specifically involved in competition. He liked competition. Well, of course, this guy only wanted to do traditional stuff, so we went to the Wing Chun.
Yeah.
And when I went to Wing Chun because when I left Birmingham to live in Milton Keynes, I didn't know there was a club in Milton Keynes, so I joined a Wing Chun club. I was only yellow or purple sash or something, and he says to me, he says, I did Lau Gar. He says, but it's just competition. It's crap. It's just, that's all it is. It's just competition stuff and training for competitions. And of course, he didn't understand. He didn't even know that Lau Gar was actually a genuine kung fu style. All he ever got was kickboxing. And that's how it was.
And that's not, but that's just happenstance. That's what his instructor at the time in
Yeah,
that area.
but if you look at all the videos now, of course, you get a lot more people who leave the association frustrated because they're doing traditionalism, if you like, but you can see it in what they do in the videos, that they don't actually understand what the videos are. And I guess the argument against us putting videos or showing how we do them is just simply, well, you know, if they watch them, they'll know they're crap. But the thing is, everybody looks at them and thinks that Lau is crap. And so what you've got then is people who have left the association giving out black belts, giving out sashes, professing to teach Lau Gar. And of course, people go to it and go, oh, this is Lau Gar. It's crap. And then you get
absolutely misrepresented, isn't it?
It's totally misrepresented. And of course, my attitude is, okay, yeah, you're going to get, you know, instructors copying videos of people doing it, you know, to all intents and purposes, a little bit more correct. If I may be so bold, I do it a little bit different to other people maybe. And then but the thing is, you go, oh, well, you can't show these instructors that because they'll go then teach it. And no doubt they will, but they'll never train it. So they'll never digest it. So they'll never get good themselves, but they will teach it. That's right. The thing is, they're not the only ones watching YouTube. Their students are watching YouTube. And if they've got lots and lots of students, their students will talk about it. And then their students will see where they can get more information from the style that they think that they're learning. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to start seeking out better instructors. They're going to start looking and start questioning their own instructors' values or their own instructors' quality by looking at what's on YouTube. And very
Right,
quickly,
yeah.
I think you're going to start winning minds, hearts and minds that you are. You'll start winning them. Or you can just hide away, not do anything, let everyone else.
Yeah, exist in a bubble. Exist in the bubble. I mean, look, you know, let me read you a comment we got, right? This was on the video for the second set, right? This was on YouTube. It says, great video. This is the sort of Laugar content that I've always hoped someone would make. Are you intending to do any future videos detailing the forms and sets and other in other sashes? So there's one, you know, someone else says, well done, love this outline, you know. Thanks for the video, really looking forward to more of them. Someone else says, and this this one says, brilliant, whisper it, but this might even be better than the official video. Right. Now, look, I think, but that's, you know, that's not being jammy. But look, I think, you know, there are no secrets in Kung Fu. First of all, I don't believe this, and it's something you've always said to me. And you've never sort of, as well, during the course of my training, ever sort of prohibited me from searching for other information or, you know, looking. But, you know, because I have such a lot of faith in you and your experiences, I'm just always trying to catch up to that, but I never can. But the point is, you know, everyone's going to have a different opinion of the style, a different opinion of the sets, but none of us are clones. Yeah. But there really are no secrets. This information needs to be put out there because, like you said, I truly don't believe that, you know, anyone can learn a martial art from watching a video. I don't believe that, or reading a book or whatever.
It's a reference, like all videos, they're just references. So when you reference something, it's like watching a clip to a movie. You know, a set is not a style. A set is a set, and that's it. So it doesn't matter whether you do part of it or you do the whole thing. If you do the whole thing, it kind of makes more sense. But you know, so you do it on video. But the thing is, you watch a movie and you see a clip of it and you think, oh, that's a good movie, you know, and that's the way it is. So you're either going to want to watch, you're going to want to watch the movie or you're not. And when you see a lot of bad clips of a movie, you don't want to see it. You don't want to be, you don't want anything.
That really is,
Not only do you not want to do it, but you promote that it's bad as well. You tell everybody how bad Lau is. Someone says, oh, I did Lau and it's great. And then they say, oh, I saw that on video. I saw the national demonstration. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm sorry. I don't like that very much at all.
I'm saying nothing.
No, well, there are,
you know,
they're not always great. I think anyone could admit that.
Yeah, they're not always great. Yeah, yeah.
But the sets are not always good. Bless them. They do their best. They go out there and they train. They do their best. They go out there, but and that's okay to promote it like that in your club. But
I think but what I would suggest you're trying to say, so let me put words in your mouth, is that if you're gonna represent something in a demonstration, at least, you know, let's just put a bit more work in, you know, for the most part. And look, I mean, I understand that people don't always have the time, but
or the talent.
Unfortunately, we live in a time where a lot of things are filmed. A lot of things are out there, and you know, it's like eating food, isn't it? You sort of feast with your eyes first, and it's the same with, you know, sort of martial arts. You'll look at it and go, oh, that's great, you know, because you see some Muay Thai guy whacking someone in the leg or elbowing pads or whatever, and it looks so sort of tangible and real. And then you watch some, you know, crap Laugar video on YouTube, and it's some guy flailing around, no definition in his movements, you know, doing the worst version of knife defense, and it just absolutely misrepresents the style, you know. And you know, it's
for me. I'm interested in the style. I don't care, you know, what association people are with. I don't care. What I care about is the style, and people, they're not intentionally misrepresented it. A lot of people, for instance, people who do things obviously in competitions and whatever, they're not intentionally doing it, but there's no one there to judge it except the people who come from, you know, who are interested in doing martial arts in the first place, and they've got no decent videos or information, and it might have been the right thing to do many years ago when there was no video, and say, look, if they want to if they want to learn Lao, they've got to come to a club, and that's most definitely was the way. Unfortunately, they don't come to the club because they don't need to learn Lao anymore. They don't need to look for a good style because they don't know the definition of a good style anymore, because there is so much crap out there. And there are so many good salesmen out there. So what happens is they just go for the best salesman, the one with the nicest suits and the most equipment and the best gym. That doesn't make us martial art good. So if you want to just say, oh no, we don't want anything to do with that, we don't want to show off our style or anything, let people do their thing and it'll die off. No, it won't. It just makes them more and more money while you sit there and just hide behind your, you know, I am, you know, wiser than thou kind of attitude. So it really is it's a sad time for martial arts at this time.
Yeah. Oh, it is, because I believe that sort of a lot of the rationale behind people saying, you know what, you shouldn't put these sets out, you know, a lot of it is sort of an interpretation of an old traditional, shall we say, way of thinking, a way of thinking that perhaps, you know, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, you know, maybe was sort of like prevalent. But
when there was no,
you know, the world
when there was no
on.
YouTube.
Yeah, but it's like anything. It's like the, you know, void and impermanence. You know, everything changes. You have to change with the times. And look at martial arts, you know, in general. I mean, if you look in China, I mean, how many went underground, you know, and it's sort of like
kept it secret, so everyone started doing taekwondo, and everyone starts doing
and MMA,
and MMA, because they don't do kung fu. Why? Because they don't see it as valuable, because you don't show them enough. You don't show them how valuable it is. You don't demonstrate it. You don't promote yourself. I mean, just imagine McDonald's promotes itself constantly. Why? Because there's other food. You know, there's other you know, burgers around. If they don't promote themselves, the other burgers will get eaten and theirs won't. It doesn't matter how long they've been there. It doesn't matter how big they are. It doesn't matter how tasty they are. If they don't promote themselves on a regular basis, then other people will, and they'll start eating, you know, Burger King, which I prefer.
Yeah, so do I. You know, it's sad that it has to come to, you see, because I say we, you were in the video, I edited it, whatever, but it's sad that it has to come to, you know, we're the easy target, if you like. Do you know what I mean? We're people can look at us and say, well, they're doing it, that's bad, but they miss everybody else and what they're doing, you know. And
it only takes one to complain.
It does.
Yeah.
It
only takes one.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it's not so easy, because you've got to take notice, you know. And to be honest with you, I'm prepared to have that argument, and quite happily.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I'm quite happy to have that argument, because there is no argument for not promoting your style. And
no.
Okay, the argument is, well, don't put the whole set out. Well, come on, the whole set's out there everywhere. It doesn't matter. The whole set's out there, and either people are going to see it as good or they're going to see it as bad. They're either going to see people doing stupid self-defense techniques from it, or they're going to see something at least that gives some representation. Now, we're not out there trying to, I mean, if we was to do self-defense techniques for each one of those sets, you would take that video would be about 6 years long, because there is just no end to what you can do with these forms. So we're not actually teaching people what to do with these forms. We're just showing them what could be done with these as examples. You know, it's like, okay, you teach people the alphabet, but you're not going to write War and Peace for them. They're going to have to do that themselves. So it's a matter of learning the basic and then going, you know what, I can do that. And you know where I got it from? I got it from someone who knew what they were talking about. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about anyone in the future who wants to do. A lot of people just don't want to put themselves out, and they make the excuse that you shouldn't. But really, they just don't want to be videoed. They don't want to show people what they don't want to be criticized. Well, I don't care whether people criticize me.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't mind.
I think that, because you could have the argument, there's always, you're prepared to sort of argue for everything you did then, in the video, and likewise, if, the video says, I've done it like this today, with all the examples, but tomorrow I'll do it completely different.
Exactly.
So,
and that's exactly the same as people. Yeah. And it's the same as if you talk about Yao as an example, he'll go to a course and he'll teach people, a specific way of doing things. What they do on the courses, for instance, they'll all do stuff. Obviously the instructors are only there to guide people. But then they take questions from people. They mark it on a board and say, okay, what can, you do with this set, or is this the right move, or is that the right move? But let me explain. Master Yao can only answer those questions that day. And that he has to, by definition, give a single reason to each question. But we know there is no single answer to those questions. And so therefore tomorrow, the course will be different. And therefore Well, what I was going to say is what you've got then is the people that go on that course that day are arguing with the people who go on the other course next week. Because it's always going to be different. So
it fluctuates and it's organic. That's the whole point. It's
and I will do, if I do that set again, on video, it will be different.
But
because I'd have learned.
I know. I mean, sort of playing advocate here. If you're going to do, and we're talking about a lot of the brown sash courses, black sash courses, whatnot. So within the BKFA, so you've got a large contingent of people training different clubs, different areas in the UK that all come together en masse. And because Master Yao's there, John is there to give, to basically answer questions, pertaining to the style. You've got this, you've got a lot of questions that need to be answered, like you said. And I think it's not, for me, it's when you say, oh, it's your chance to learn from the source, you've got to be very careful. I mean, I have so much respect for Master Yao and what he's done. Like, this is unwavering. But he's not the source. He's just the current sort of keeper, if you like, of the style. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's in charge of it for now. He's driving it. He's behind the wheel, So he'll have a different opinion to his grandfather who taught him. You'll have a different opinion to Master Yao. I have a different opinion on some things to you. But the one thing that binds us is the logic and the science. And that is where you can't sort of, you have to argue properly. And I'm not saying it's like a waste of time, these courses, not at all, because... No,
of course, they're all training, they're templates for training.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the dogma and the minutiae in learning martial arts in a big organization, because you've got a lot of people hungry for knowledge who need to be, what's this? Well, Master Yao says it's this, so it's this. And therefore, at that second, unless you've got the ability to think for yourself, you become fixed in a position. Well, Master Yao says it's this, so it's this forever.
And that's because they have a certain period of time in order to learn it, i.e. the length of the course. And then they go back to wherever they live, miles and miles away, and start teaching it as they learned it like one day ago. Well, they haven't even digested it yet. They've just got the idea.
Yes.
Well, dependent on how much they train and how much they learn and how much they digest, more importantly, will dictate how their students, can take it. But if they can't digest it, then they're always going to teach it badly, no matter who teaches them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if they learn it off a video, but of course that's even worse because they don't get their answers, you know, their questions answered in the same way, and so they go and they start assuming. Well, if you look on YouTube and you look on, you know, other videos everywhere, you will see people without their questions answered. They're trying to answer themselves, or they're answering them themselves, which don't necessarily, you know, pertain to the actual, you know, the initial question, and it just goes off on a tangent. And then of course they start doing different styles. Oh, well, then it just goes to pieces.
To fill in the gaps.
They fill in the gaps with things that just don't even fit.
Right. It's like Jurassic Park, isn't it? When they use frog DNA, and then the dinosaurs, they change sex. They shouldn't have used frog DNA. You should have just, right? Do you know what I mean? But you get Jurassic Park in there. But you know, oh yeah, absolutely. That's funny. I lost my train of thought now. I'm thinking about dinosaurs. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with anything, sometimes you can use.
It's like you
use the wrong filler, and all the thing around it falls apart, and the filler remains. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
When you're doing do it yourself, I've done that. You know. Oh yeah, this was great stuff. Absolute brilliant stuff. Solid as a rock. And then all the plaster around it just falls apart.
Oh god. Yeah. It's you know what I love, and this isn't like, I love anybody who will innovate and try and find answers for questions about the forms, firstly by thinking about it themselves and then trying it and just being a bit sort of spontaneous, organic, however you want to do it. You know, it's too easy to get answers all the time. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you need to ask questions. You need to. Yeah. But isn't it, I think, you know, the people who stand out, I think, personally, are the ones who are prepared to sort of think about it a lot, really sort of in their mind weigh it up. Can I do this? Can I do that? You know, and then give it a go and put it out there. It's a few people.
Yeah. They've got to be They've got to be able to digest it. It's not about learning it and then passing it on. It's about digesting it. When you digest it, then you can pass it on to many, because everybody is different. But if you just teach it by rote, then half the people wouldn't be able to do it in the way that you teach it. So you've got to. It's not about you teaching people. It's about, in effect, they're teaching you how they can learn it, if you understand what I'm saying. So you gain understanding other people and how other people actually can use it or learn it. So and obviously that's not just fighting or self-defense or whatever. That's
fishing.
Just generally it's the moves.
You teach a man to fish, you know, and he survived for a lifetime. But if you go and fish and give it to the people, they'll always rely on you. That's all. But you know, you teach the people to fish, and you see how they might change the way you taught them, and then you learn. You think, oh, great, you know.
And of course, it has changed over the years. It has changed, but the formula's still there. So all you need is to digest the formula, and then any martial art you see, you can tell straight away whether it's going to be of use. Any particular technique. I watched someone the other day, and then block. Yeah, you're right, but I bet you originally it was never done like that. You know, because it's absolutely friggin' useless.
Yeah.
You know,
was that the video I sent you?
I think so. Yeah.
Was that the video I sent you? Yeah. Just anyway.
But it is useless, but no.
When done like that.
But they had a complete misconception of traditional martial arts anyway, didn't they?
Well,
you know.
But these are sort of the, you know, these are people who, you know, I won't stray onto this subject too much, but that video particularly was someone trying to comprehend traditional techniques, but he's come from a background of mainly, should we say, MMA? Or, you know, ring fighting. He's
come from that, so he doesn't understand how it works or why it works, because no one applies rules. I mean, we've had someone before, haven't we? Didn't we talk about the guy that was talking about punches or something? And forgot completely the fact that if you don't use a punch and you use an open palm, you're not going to break your knuckles.
Well, we'll come on to that later when we talk about sort of videos we like, videos we don't like. But absolutely, it's a misunderstanding of it, and I think it's just too easy to get answers from people and think that's enough.
Yeah.
You
need an instructor.
Instead of think about it.
You need a teacher.
You do. You
need a teacher.
Yeah, and you can't learn it from YouTube. You just cannot.
Yeah, you need a father. Look what happens to kids that haven't got fathers. And that's no detriment to single parents, but you need a father. Even Indian elephants go off and try and rape elephants. Did you know that? Well,
I didn't know. That wasn't in the Jungle Book.
No, it happens to mastodon. It happened to mastodons, and it happens to elephants because they poach all the elephants, the biggest bull elephants with the biggest tusks, kill them all off. Who's left? The younger elephants. What do the younger elephants want to do? They want to shag every frigging elephant that they see, and when they don't get to grips with it, and they can't, then they kill the elephant. They kill the female elephant, in anger, because they get frustrated, and that's why you keep finding bloody dead elephants everywhere. This is a fact, by the way. I watched a really good program on. They couldn't figure out who was killing the elephants. Turns out it was the young elephants that were desperately trying to have it off with them.
There you go.
I don't know. I digress.
There's a message.
There is a message. The whole point I'm talking about it. If you don't have a teacher, you just go off on a tangent. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So
for information.
Yeah, and whatever you do,
don't blame us.
Me, one of those young elephants
on YouTube. Yeah. Oh yeah. Honestly,
don't go near a young elephant.
We've gone from YouTube videos to elephant, rape.
Well, it happens to. It's because they're poached. It could happen to other animals, but it was they think that's what happens to mastodons because they killed all the bigger elephants because obviously they were more valuable, and the smaller elephants survived and became renegades. Well, that's what happens to martial arts. Yeah. But you can put that straight away into martial arts. So the big ones, they die off because they're keeping it a secret, and these other ones, they haven't got anyone to control them. Yeah,
there are no secrets.
Yeah, when an organization has got nothing to control it, it will go off and teach what it wants. The problem is you can't then turn around and say, oh no, they can't do that. They can't do that because you're not stopping them. There's no guidance. Okay, so they either choose to leave an organization and set up their own, in which case they become the boss and there is no guidance and there is no tuition. And that's where all the people go in because they're not good at martial arts, but they're very good at promoting themselves. So,
well, we know a few.
Yes, and that's why people are giving out black belts left, right, and center. So why not?
Well, I tell you what, shall we? I think we've made our position quite clear there.
Okay.
We will continue to promote Lau Gar because it's a wonderful style in the best way,
with respect.
We can, okay?
With respect,
with absolute respect. But you also need to understand that martial arts, it changes, it evolves over time. What was done 30, 40 years ago is not relevant today. There are too many groups out there pushing themselves, promoting themselves. If Lau Gar doesn't do the same in the UK, in 10 years, it's going to be a mere slither of what it once was. And, and that is sad. There'll always be groups of Lau Gar teaching, no doubt. There'll always be. And
I don't know the motivation behind it though, because, these people can actually promote it together as an organization. Yeah. Or do they just want to be king of their own little castle? The big goldfish in the little goldfish bowl. Or they don't want to be a little goldfish in a big goldfish bowl. Maybe they actually want to, just promote themselves and in their area. Because let's face it, all that matters is their clubs. All that matters is their position. As soon as they show everyone else the rest of the goldfish bowl, they're no longer as big. and that's such an issue. But you shouldn't have that kind of ego. At the end of the day, you want to promote the style, then promote the style, and you show what you can do, and be prepared to be criticized, and be prepared to learn. And aren't we all? I'm quite happy to learn, and I know that when I put things out on video, they're never going to be brilliant. They're never going to be perfect. All I can do is the best at that time. And if people want to criticize it, they can. But like you said, I'm prepared to, argue the toss, argue the give me a question and I'll give you an answer. And if you if you just complain about it, or just talk about it, or just say that's crap, explain to me why. And if you can't, then you're talking out your ass. Because if you can't give me a reason it's no good, if you can't give me a reason you don't agree with it, like that guy with the bloody stick, then don't come back with just, oh, it's crap. Why is it? Because I don't do it like that. Well, show me how you do it, or shut up.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to move on. Guess what? We've had quite a few downloads from America over the 3 months or so we've been off, and I figured, because I love the United States of America, I figured I'd do something special for these places. So we're a bit late to this, but we're gonna talk about a style called Shaolin Do, right? Because I think America has given the world, culturally, in its short sort of existence, I mean, it's contributed to the culture in a massive way. Wendy's, triple cheeseburgers, yeah. Dodge Ram 1500s, yeah. The Constitution, yeah. Second Amendment, baby. Yeah. Right now,
it is an amendment.
Don't you start. Don't you start. Oh, we could argue this. We could have this. Now, they've also, but the problem is, right? The problem is, they've also encouraged and endorsed the style of Shaolin Do. Had you ever heard of Shaolin Do before?
No, I have not heard of Shaolin Do. But
right. So if I told you this style, once you become a great grandmaster in it, you'll know over 900 forms. Would you believe me?
I'd like to see you try. I'd like to see you know them all. I'd like to see you understand them all. Considering in the first set, our first set, the possibilities are infinite. So, I mean, you can calculate something like 1,400,600, whatever. Yeah. I don't know, a lot.
Off 13 moves, right? Off 13.
Off 13 moves.
Right, off 13. Now, and that's not including changes of direction. So that's when we can say there are infinite possibilities.
No, that's why it's infinite.
Moves, yeah. Of 13 moves, in theory, it's theoretically possible for you to have an infinite number, right? 900. How many moves do you think are in 900 forms? Now, when we talk about Shaolin Do, this is what I want y'all to understand. We're not like, this ain't a hit piece. It ain't, because we've got a bit more class. This is
never is, is it? Never
is. This is a bit of commentary, but this has got to be a bit of, tongue-in-cheek commentary. Let's bring a bit of reality, because no offense, but things do get a bit exaggerated in
it's States. More of a reality check than a critique, shall we say? Right.
Now,
would you say that?
I would. I definitely would. But you haven't seen any of the videos yet. Just wait. Right. So yes, we're not here to poke fun in a spiteful way, but I do want you to understand, guys, and this is what I really want you to understand. If we were talking about a plumber who has done a horrendous job in your house, plumbed it up wrong, leaks everywhere, and he's charged you a fortune for it, would you want someone out there calling that plumber out and saying, this guy is a charlatan, this one's a cowboy? I think you would. So you know what? We're going to do the same thing. with Shaolin Do. Now, check it out. So this guy here is, well, just check it out. Right, so this guy here, oh, no, wrong picture, wrong picture. Sorry, that's Harry and the Hendersons. Sorry. Not far off, though. This one here. Okay. Now, this is one of the originators of Shaolin Do from like the late sort of 19th century. His name is Su Kong Tai Jin. Now, I'm not being funny, but I'd have made the effort, maybe had a shave. But do you think he's overdoing it with the suit? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, can you recognize him from that photo?
Well, is he the front or the back?
Well, exactly. Know. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Listen. Listen. I feel for the bloke. You know, he had a lot to sort of go on. I mean, not only we've got this, but he had about 2,000 years worth of Shaolin science and martial arts to remember and pass on to the next generation. The next guy along.
Yeah. No wonder he never cut his hair.
He didn't have time. Mind you.
No time.
Yeah. Well, the next guy along, did okay. And it was at this time in the stage of Shaolin Do. And I'm briefly touching on this, guys. At this time, they were in Indonesia. Okay. And in Indonesia at the time, the second guy in line, can't remember his name. He had to go through the Japanese occupation. Now, when the Japanese were occupying Indonesia, you were not allowed to train any Chinese martial art. You couldn't do it, right? So they put on karate gis and karate belts and said, hey, we're not doing kung fu. We're doing karate. Please, leave us alone. And they did. Anyway,
I don't think they'd allow them to do any kind of training, I'll be frank with you, in the war.
Oh, during the war? Now,
during the war.
Into the fray steps this man. Okay. Now, this guy's name is Sin Kwang Tae. Now, this is the guy who eventually took Shaolin Do from Indonesia to the United States. Now, looking at this picture of him, what strikes out to you? What do you think?
First Nations.
Well, yeah, he does, doesn't he? He does a little bit,
But then again, has he got an accent? So maybe he's from Indonesia or whatever.
Look. I haven't got past his hair. That's a beautiful head of hair. I'm jealous. I know you are. Mm-hmm. That's a good head of hair. Now, if you study the picture, guys, right, what you've got here is all the attributes of a real Shaolin master in every way and every sense, of the word. Beautiful hair, for starters. Necklace. A beautiful necklace, because you've got to have some sort of necklace to denote your master level. How come you haven't got a necklace, Mr. Newb?
I'm getting one made in gold with a big S on it, or a big Newb.
You got to say, "I pity the fool. I pity him." That's right. Right. I get on no plane. Right. Now we've got the necklace. Look at the gi. Isn't this guy has got more sponsorships than NASCAR, than Mario Andretti, the NASCAR drivers. That's awesome. Now look at that. Oh, he's also got a bum bag. You need a bum bag for your, whatever, ninja stars, whatever. I don't know. The wads of cash he's raking in. But look at his belt. Now, I'm not saying anything about his belt, but no way did he tie that belt to the exhaust of his car and drive from Kentucky to California. No way. I mean, he's worn that. It's falling apart because he's trained so hard. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Right. And I think,
yeah.
right now, listen, I think it's important that we let the viewers and the listeners into a bit of a story of this guy's life. And since this is a homage to America, I've decided to do it in the style of rhythmic American poetry, otherwise known as rap. Are you with me, Mr. Newbie?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get our rap on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now this is a story all about how Kung Fu got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, tell you about a man called Tay, who's got lovely hair. In West Indonesia, born and raised in a temple is where he spent most of his days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, learning 900 forms outside of school, when a couple of times he had to break wood and fight with a blindfold to see if he could. But he needed some cash to dye his hair, so he thought, I'd move to Kentucky. They're gullible there. He whistled for some students, and when they came close, the first thing he did was sell them some clothes. If anything, they thought that black belts were rare, but it's just like Taekwondo. They're everywhere. He made up some more forms, about 7 or 8, and thought, my students will think I'm great. Looked at his kingdom, he was finally there to sit on his throne as a GM with nice hair. Yeah, humor.
Yeah, man.
That was the Fresh Prince with nice hair, or the GM with nice. I can't remember what I call it now. So now, Mr. Sin Kwang Tay, would you like to? I tell you what, I'm going to read you, right, some of the published history, and some information off the Shaolin Do website, and I think you're going to be interested in this. Okay. I won't hark on about it too long, but it gets progressively worse. So prepare yourself, okay? So it says on their website, Shaolin Do, the Shaolin system as taught today is comprised of more than 50 styles and 900 forms. Bullshit. Okay, whatever. Carl Pilkington was here, you know. Okay, well there you go. From this enormous body of material, today's Shaolin Do practitioners receive a broad-based martial arts education that covers the entire spectrum of martial arts philosophy and technique. The Shaolin Do curriculum teaches its practitioners sound fundamentals, and we will look at some of these sound fundamentals in a bit, fundamentals, and provides each practitioner with the appropriate mental and physical challenge for their level of training. Shaolin Do is a traditional martial art, providing its practitioners with time-proven self-defense techniques. Shaolin Do strengthens the body and sharpens the mind, leading to a longer, more proactive and healthier life. Well, I'm certainly thinking about it. I won't lie. Shaolin Do is the most complete and comprehensive martial arts system in the world. Shaolin Do starts by introducing its students to basic Shaolin martial arts concepts. The material is organized so the beginning students have an opportunity to learn animal, empty hand, internal weapon techniques that are straightforward with readily apparent applications. The object is to build a solid base emphasizing proper technique, stance work, spirit, conditioning, and basic practical self-defense. Again, we'll come back to this, you know. Okay. Upon completion of the lower belt and brown belt curriculum, the Shaolin Do students has a minimum of 22 long forms through which they have studied a variety of techniques, such as short katas. Do you not think, like, you know, like it's called Do, and that's like a Japanese word, and they're using words like katas? Does this start like anyway?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Chinese around here, they sell sushi.
Oh Jesus! Oh, all right, okay. Honest to God, you have some great one-liners, old man Newbs. Right, they have studied a variety of techniques such as short katas, sparring techniques, self-defense, tiger, crane, bird, staff, nunchaku, broadsword, broadsword.
What's a crane if it ain't a bird?
I don't know. There's a bird. Right, broadsword. Get this, sai. I didn't know sai was a Shaolin weapon. Oh, but obviously I'm, mistaken. Okay,
No.
sai, the Kwang Tao, General Kwang's knife, Kwang Do. Now, the student now has the conditioning, material knowledge, and sparring foundation to be considered a disciple. So after doing all that, he is now considered a disciple. Okay, and or he's considered a serious beginner. So you will get your black belt in Shaolin Do, but you're then considered a serious beginner, just so we're clear, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll continue to study a wide variety of styles and techniques that not only produce a well-rounded martial artist, but also an extraordinarily well-conditioned body and mind. Now, it's worth saying that the belt system in Shaolin Do, right? It goes white, yellow, green, blue,
then green,
blue, then green. Okay, blue, then green, then brown.
Yeah,
right?
Brown, basically, all those without purple. It's basically the karate order, isn't it? It's the
right.
It's the Japanese order.
But 5 belts in, you're a brown belt. 5, right? 5. But it goes brown belt 3rd degree, brown belt 2nd degree, brown belt 1st degree, then your black belt, right? And along all this time, you'll be considered a serious beginner. Okay. Would you like me to read you the end bit? Okay, because this end bit is kind of funny. And this is the words from Master Sin Kwang Te himself on the website. It says, if your primary interest is tournament skills, I advise you to seek your training elsewhere. Most of what you will learn here is too lethal for tournament use. Wow. I teach the ancient system of Shaolin Do, art of survival, not of sport, as did the immortals. We should learn to destroy so that we may preserve. It is a way of truth. The knowledge that I offer you is not an athletic training. It is a sacred trust, says Master Sin Kwang Te. Now, Master Sin Kwang Te has been known as the most dangerous man, one of the most dangerous men in the world. And that's not hyperbole. That was like about him.
Has he got some kind of disease?
Well, I'm going to show you.
Is he infectious?
And I'm going to show you a video, and I think after watching it, you may agree or disagree. I don't know, but it's an interesting video. Okay, so let's watch this video of the world's most dangerous man in action. Okay, this is Grandmaster. Excuse me. Keeper of 2,000 years of Shaolin knowledge and all the fighting secrets within, doing a short performance. And I'm not quite sure what it is, but hey, here it is for your pleasure. Roll VT.
Yeah.
Right, I've had to stop this video because it just makes no sense. Steve, are you all right? What's going down? Are you? My God. So it's been driven to suicide. It's that bad. Is it that bad? Is it? Let me ask you a question.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
What do you think he was doing?
What
do you think he was doing?
I've no idea what he was doing. Okay, but I'm sure he's dangerous to himself. That's for sure. He's going to hurt someone.
Do you know what? He's gonna, yeah. Do you know what, right? I was watching this vid. I thought, there's no context here. We need, there needs to add, if you're going to do a form, like we say, do it for a reason.
As if you was attacking someone.
This form,
yeah.
As if you, yes, right.
Yeah.
Now, so I've done something to the vid. And just to give it a bit more context, all right? I want you to check this out because this makes a bit more sense, all right? Roll VT. Okay, right. Now, did it make sense now? Be honest.
I understood it completely now. I wish you'd have shown me that in the first place.
Yes.
If you'd have
just made sense.
And now I know. Now I understand.
It's the secret Shaolin fly swatting form that only Grandmaster.
I missed that one.
We did.
I'm sorry. I missed that one out.
World's
it does make sense now.
It does. World's deadliest man. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question, right? In your 3 years of studying the Chinese martial art of Lau Gar, Kung Fu in general, being a scholar of the arts, did what you see there in any way, shape or form, in an honest opinion, appeal to your sensibilities in any way? Right. Okay. Thank you. No more comment. I mean, yes. Okay. So right. What Shaolin Do? Let me tell you a bit about the. Let me just tell you just a bit about the syllabus, okay? Because as mentioned, you have to learn a lot of forms, okay, in Shaolin Do. So many, in fact, it is technically impossible to appreciate any of them.
Know any of them.
I know any of them.
Digest anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, when we look at the syllabus for Shaolin Do, so between white belt and black belt, first degree, you will learn, and I'm going to count them off here, and I'll put the syllabus on the screen for everyone to see. I mean, this is just horrendous. So we're going to start off. You learn internal forms, weapons forms, open hand forms. Okay. Now, from all the way up to black belt, you have to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34 forms so far, and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 forms, right? This is 40 forms to black belt level. Okay, that's 8 grades, and a lot of those forms are, your Kwang Do, your broadsword, your sai, your daggers, your drunken sword, your this, your that, the other, right?
How long does it take to get a grade? Does it say?
I don't know. No, I couldn't. I don't know on that. I'd love it if someone watching or listening to us could give us some more. I'd love to know. Not only like 40 forms, right? You've got to do, okay, so they call them short katas. You've got 10, 25, 22, 47 plus 30, that's 77. 77 short katas, 77 short katas, 40 forms. Sparring techniques, wait for it. So we've got 10 here, 9, 19, ooh, another 15, so that's 20, that's 34, and 54 sparring techniques. So 77, 54, 40. China, now this is where it gets crazy. You have to know 10, 30, 55, 80, excuse me, sorry, 90 China techniques. I mean, this is an awful lot. This is like, do you know when Gordon Ramsay goes to these pubs and these restaurants, and their menu is like War and Peace? He's like, idiot sandwich, idiot sandwich. He's like, you know, get rid of all this off your menu because you can't cook it and it's shit. It's shit. You know, he's like, compress it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy, right? What do you think of this? What do you, honestly, like,
how is it possible to learn anything? To, you know, unless you're going to spend a lifetime doing, you know, I mean, I've spent a lifetime learning 7 basic forms and some weapon forms, and you know, and then one further hand form, Bok King Kong, and it takes a lifetime, and I don't know them, you know, and from time to time you don't practice them, you forget them, so you've got to keep them up, and you will forget them occasionally when life gets in the way, and that's just so. Well, how many is that? Like about maybe maximum 14, 15 different forms, which are, you know, some of them are barely any moves at all.
16. So
yeah.
We've got 8 weapon forms and
8 hand forms.
No, not even that. Not even that.
No.
8 hand forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 hand forms, including Bonking Kong. Broadsword, twice.
Yeah.
Butterfly knives. Deutschat,
Spear.
Kwando, spear.
Yeah. Rat tail.
And the shield. Rat tail pole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw how Kwang and the shield. So what?
And they have added, you know, the eye needle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you want to, if depending on your size, they won't kind of throw the tiger fork at you. They'll give you a jin, you know, a thin, a double-bladed sword like the Tai Chi use.
Yeah.
Northern styles and so on. So yeah, it's
radically different than Shaolin Do. I mean,
yeah, and that takes an awful lot of learning and digestion. You know, you're going to learn those forever.
Yeah.
There's no way on earth you're going to learn them all perfectly either.
Are you saying this guy, you know, may have made them up? I mean,
well, judging by what we've just seen, with the fly swatter and all that, I find it really hard to envisage your students doing that in a class. So,
do you know who one of his most famous students is?
Go ahead.
If you had to guess.
I just could not guess. I could not guess.
Jake Mace.
Oh my giddy aunt.
Oh yeah.
That explains everything.
It does, right?
It explains everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just, and he actually, there was a massive court battle between Grandmaster Sin-Tay and Jake Mace on Bullshit.net, just listing sort of all the courtroom, you know, statements and stuff, because, you know, Jake left and blah blah blah. So that's funny. Now, far be it from us to sit here, you know, computer keyboard warriors, and criticize, you know, talk about it. Let's show you. Now, I'm going to show you a form in Shaolin Do. This is a legitimate form. This is called the drunken broadsword form. Okay, And I don't have words for it, so I'm just going to play it. But I will say this: this is not a critique or a hit piece on this particular student of Shaolin Do performing it. I do not blame him. I blame the people perpetuating this and whoever have taught him. So, old man, are you ready? Drunken broadsword form, hit it. Okay, right, no. That is real. That is genuine. What did you think of that?
Well, he's not drunk. He's not a very good actor. He may well be on drugs. If you're going to stick the sword between your legs like that, then maybe he needed the drugs because of whatever operation he was going to give himself. Thank God it was a wooden sword. That's all I can say.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's sad that enthusiasts like that are coerced into believing that they know something, and it gives them some kind of buzz, because maybe people come to the club for the first time and really believe that they are coming to someone who's experienced and knows stuff, and he's wearing a black belt, so they must really, kind of appreciate him and maybe respect him until they see him move. But there was applause. I think that applause was there because he finished. Yeah, because he stopped.
because he finished, standing up, But if it was real, he'd have chopped his toe off at the start, I mean,
and
guys,
his testicles.
And his testicles. I mean, please, for the love of God, people, if you're training the broadsword, don't shove it between your legs.
And don't swing it and use it like that, because it ain't going to be sharp. It ain't going to.
It's at one
and
point,
he kicked it.
He kicked it, and he was
got to count his toes.
Yes, and he was hacking with it as well.
And you're telling me he didn't make that up as he went on?
Didn't you? Come on. That's an actual form. That is the drunken broadsword form in Shaolin Do, right? And this is one of 40 forms, including weapons, you have to learn.
That's why he's not going to be very good at it anyway. Even if it was a good form, if it made any sense, he would never be good at it, because he's got the other forms to remember. And he's going to have favorites, so he's going to practice a couple of ones that he likes to do. The others, he's not going to practice, so he's never going to be any good at it. So
no.
But that's really a good way of destroying martial arts. There's two things I want to tell you, while we're talking about this, two experiences. One guy left the association, decided to teach Lau in his own way. And in order to take your first grade, you had to be able to do the set in the box splits.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And so how many students do you think he had? Not that many.
Well,
so he died a death. Well, yeah, because it would die a death in 5 minutes, because how many people could do it? And the only people that could do it are people who are good at the splits, not good at anything else. And
and
then you have people who just make things up, go to courses and just learn things off courses and come back. They're called masters. And I told you about the guy that had the the certificate on the wall that would been given to an Alsatian dog. You know,
Yes.
so.
But this is like, we thought this had finished in the 70s, didn't we?
Yeah.
Come on.
I went to a club with a Chinese guy in Telford, 27 clubs in Telford alone, 3 a night, and he'd run to them in his car, and he would take the money, and he would do a couple of little hops down the road, and then he would leave it to the guys after 3 months training. Guess what their first grade was? Black sash. Their first colour sash was black sash. So when people come to the club, they'd see a black sash and they'd go, oh, they must know what they're doing. And then there's like a 14-year-old girl teaching it. And you just think to yourself, you know, he ended up on, for anyone who's old enough to remember Esther Ranson, he was on that show, Esther Ranson, which was about con merchants and, you know, catching people out. Before the days of video, before the days of, you know, camcorders and stuff, you know, where you could video people secretly.
You mentioned con man, right? Now I'm going to play to you a clip now of a typical, should we say, mid to late 90s Shaolin Do class. Are you interested?
Go ahead.
Well, let's watch.
No,
this clip.
but go ahead.
Let's watch this clip, and you tell me if you think they're con men. All right? Let's go.
By day, it's a wave pool, 7,000 gallons of rolling fun. But by night, it becomes a classroom. Master Shung-Tae, a 7th degree black belt in Shaolin Do karate, periodically immerses his students in water for a different type of training.
For conditioning, and then for the student have the opportunity of using the environment, different environment to adjust their ability, I suppose, given different situations, so they can cope with it on the different environment.
In the water, thinking about how you're going to move as opposed to when you're out of the water, it comes a lot more naturally. Find yourself moving a lot quicker, a lot smoother.
While others train on dry land in more conventional matter, Shung-Tae students not only exercise in the water, but also spar with the waves crashing around them.
If you're just a slight bit off balance out of the water, it's not as bad. You can still compensate. In the water, if you're off balance and a wave hits you, it'll go ahead and take you on out, and you realize when you're off balance and what to do to correct that.
The water may make their training more taxing, but at least it's a way to keep cool during a workout. Rob Bromley, 27 Sports First.
Well, there you go. Now, have you ever trained in a swimming pool in the wave machine?
No.
Come on.
No.
Why not? Why
because
not?
I don't
it's
think
good
that
to train in different environments.
It's better to learn to swim faster than, you know, you can just kick sand in his face, or maybe just splash him. You know, get away, splash, splash, splash. He's got to try and make his way to you, and you know, under the pressure of being drowned by you, if he does get there, no one's going to fight in the water like that. No one.
No.
And they wear the uniforms.
I was going to say they wear the uniforms. Jesus. I mean, that's, you know.
Oh, they got the uniforms on.
Oh. This is America. This is America, man.
Yeah.
You know, gotta love them. Gotta love them. And I love how the instructor checks his gold Rolex watch. You know, go on, mate. Right? Yeah. Brilliant, eh? You know, I mean, it seems to me it would be embarrassing. I think that there are people, you know, seeking knowledge that isn't there, so they're having to make stuff up, create new ways of doing stuff. You know, nothing new. Now, I tell you about Master Sing Kwang Tae, right? He, you know, he seems like an honest man. Now, do you know what he did? He actually tried, and this is documented. He actually tried to buy a plaque and have it erected in the Shaolin Monastery in China. A plaque acknowledging Shaolin Do as an authentic Shaolin martial art, right? Now, it says something about your style when even the abbot of the Shaolin Temple, who has solicited prostitutes and, you know, drives his $60,000 bloody, you know, Mercedes car,
limousine.
It says something.
Yeah, and he drives in a limousine, drinking cans of lager.
Right. It says something when
smoking big cigars.
It says something when this abbot refuses to do that. He wouldn't even do it. So what?
Maybe he didn't pay him enough.
Maybe not. So do you know what he did? He took a load of his students from America to get photographed in front of a generic plaque, which allegedly, because I've watched quite a few videos from ex-Shaolin Do practitioners, where he allegedly, you know, suggested that this plaque was for him. You know, wow. Okay. Now, I mean, listen, I think this guy may be, you know, misunderstood. So I'm going to play a little bit of footage from Master Sin Kwang Tae. You know, basically, you know, telling us a bit about his life and, you know, and where he's going in the future. So just check this out.
Hello, my name is Sin Kwang Tae. I'm Grandmaster of Shaolin. In the Orient, I got fortunate to learn 2,000 years of Shaolin martial art, all the technique of fighting, and through rigorous training, sometimes 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was fortunate enough to master 2,000 years of all these techniques. Meanwhile, I come to United States and go to the university, and I'm in nuclear physics field. Using scientific method, I combine 1 pound of kale with 2 pounds of fruit, and then throw in all kind of supplement that in my book I testing it myself and proven to be true. And hence I developed a green smoothie that is named after me. I call it Grandmaster Sin Eternal Youth Smoothie. In this book, The Last Grandmaster, Book 1, The Legend of Hua, I describe the Nekung technique. At the same time, I also listed the recipe for my Eternal Youth Green Smoothie. Supplement your diet with my special green smoothie. I believe it would add 2 decades to your life.
Okay, so he seems legit, you know, legit. Surely, come on. He's
about as legit as.
Do you know when he said, "Look, not only is he got 2,000 years of Shaolin history under his belt, he knows all the fighting techniques. He's also a nuclear physicist."
I wouldn't let him anywhere near some plutonium. No.
Like Homer Simpson. Where did he find the time? He's been studying 900 forms, right? Where did he find the time to study nuclear physics?
No.
This guy is something else.
Yeah, well,
can you
I can't argue about whether he's a nuclear physicist or not. I can only argue that he's not a martial artist. So, you know, I know nothing about nuclear fusion. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, you know, that's beyond me. But martial arts, I can comment on his martial arts, and if there was any to comment on, I would do it. Unfortunately, you've done it all with the flies. So.
Listen, look, I'm not going to.
That's all we need.
I'm not going to deny I would have, you know, gladly reached for the phone, you know, to purchase my green smoothie, you know, his book and his recipe that adds 20 years to your life. I mean, this guy's legit, right? He's legit. Here's you know, did you notice, right? When he was talking about his book and his green smoothie and how he uses scientific methods to combine 1 pound of fruit 1 pound of kale with 2 pounds of. I can't for the life of me think what the scientific method might be. Maybe scales. I don't know, but you know. But this is the mind of a Shaolin Grandmaster. Anything's possible. But did you notice in the background on his bookshelf there was a book called Green Smoothies for Dummies? Where do you think he got this money making scheme from? He's like Del Boy. This guy's like Del Boy, isn't he? He's all right,
he hasn't mentioned anything about ointments and medicinal stuff, has he? From the Shaolin, he's talking about just total death and destruction. You know, from his techniques, too deadly to be in sport, and so
too deadly.
You know, too deadly. Yeah. So of course he's got all that from Shaolin. Well, I don't think that their first and foremost intention was to be, you know, that violent. It was like, it's not the policy. It's just trying to protect people from themselves in the end, if you like, you know.
Right.
Hurt rather than maim rather than kill kind of thing.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But no, his was too deadly.
From this,
he couldn't do it in a competition in case someone died. It would be him who died. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
This is like this really is like, I mean, an affront to Kung Fu. It's
an affront to martial arts in general. It is a sad.
I've got. It's so sad. But this organization stretches across 14 states. You know, there are people, and according to sort of
so does Donald Trump's popularity. That doesn't make him a good president.
But it's estimated. Bloody hell, he's out of office now. Calm down.
And he's still causing trouble. Go on.
Calm down, dear. Calm down. It's estimated that this group, right, has had over 1 million students. Okay, pass through the doors, right?
Yeah. they train at a train station. They just pass through the door. They don't train. They just pass through the door.
Is it? Oh God, we won't spend too much longer on this, but you know, it's very funny. This is comical stuff. I found a book review for Grandmaster Tay's Legend of Hua, the last Grandmaster. It left me thinking, what the f is going on? But now we've got this book review from Amazon. Why is it that Shaolin Do practitioners can't understand the critiques of this book and their martial art? No one is saying that Shaolin Do can't be effective as a self-defense system, or that Shaolin Do practitioners can't fight. He's awfully kind in this.
He is kind by the sound of it.
What we are saying is that the entire premise of Shaolin Do is a fraud. Contrary to what the practitioners say, Shaolin Do is not a Shaolin martial art. It does not now, nor has it ever existed in China. It is one of more than 100 styles of Kempo now existing in the United States. If you want to say that you practice an American martial art that evolved from a Hawaiian martial art, that evolved from a Japanese martial art, that evolved from an Okinawan martial art, that evolved from Southern Chinese forms, then fine. But don't be telling people who know more about Chinese martial arts and culture than you do that this Shaolin Do came from the Northern Shaolin Temple. Obviously, a fan there.
Disgruntled.
Yes, yes. But this is, I mean, it just...
You don't need to study it. You don't need to join to see what it's like. You just walk in the door and you just walk straight out.
Movie. It's like watching a movie, isn't it? And you say to yourself, he can't act. Something's not right. But this is a bit more obvious than that, you know. You just know.
And these people believe it
in their
own heart. They actually believe it. I mean, that's why you've got people claiming that they can touch people and hurt them or knock them out. And of course, when it's tested, it just doesn't work. It's just, and he can never get. Oh, There's just no way on earth that he could ever be seen as legitimate. But it is sad. It is sad, and that's one of the reasons why we're always talking about promoting, because people like that promote themselves. You know, they make a lot of money from it. They destroy martial arts in general. And you want to learn a martial art, and you end up learning something like that. And if you don't promote a good martial art, you're doing a disservice to all those people who will join a bad martial art. And I think that's the purpose of our critique.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you know, you will have your critics out there saying, "Oh, just leave it alone," or you're you know, you're being
let it go, let it go,
let it go. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about it. But you know, I feel that it's important that these, you know, I think daylight is the best disinfectant, you know, and really, guys, you know, we could spend quite a few podcasts discussing the intricacies of Shaolin Do and why what they're doing just makes absolutely no sense. But you know, this is the broad strokes. This is the abridged version. Now we will finish this off. I'm going to finish this off with a special treat, because we'll finish this section with Grandmaster, excuse me, Sin Kwang Tae, playing us out, because he has a special skill. Now his special skill is he's able to pick the leaves of trees and put them in his mouth, and it sounds, when it blows to him, pricks a little hole, it sounds just like a saxophone, right? So we're going to let old Master Tae play us out of this this commentary on Shaolin Do. So check this out, guys.
Right.
I'm going to pick up one of the leaf from this flower here.
Uh-huh.
And then start doing it.
Well, that sounded just like it, didn't it?
It was
fantastic. He did a good job. I tell you what, we'd be copyrighted after playing that on YouTube. It was that good. Well done. This bud's for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes you see the people just interviewing people like that and just going, "Oh, get out of here quick. I want who booked him? I want the world to swallow me up. I want the ground to open and just suck me in."
Yeah.
This
is just crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
There you go.
I want to extend my sympathies to anybody who's been affected by this group, because they are an affront to martial arts. They're destroying what kung fu is. I think the people in it don't realize how bad it is, and you know.
No, of course not.
It's
their own little world, you know. It's a world where they go in and everyone bows to them, and they don't want to learn a real martial art. They don't want to learn what's real. They don't want to get hurt. They just want to go home at night and, you know, bow to their bedroom and jump on the bed and fly for a second. I don't know. That's what they want to do.
This is. Do you know?
And watch another kung fu movie.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of sort of David Carradine stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's in that vein, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, right. We will end it there. You know, good old Shaolin Do. Right. If once again, hey, if you've got any information, you're listening to us, send it our way. We'd love to,
especially about that.
Have a look, etc.
Or anything like that. If you want us to look at anyone else. Yeah. But we're not there to critique everyone. We're just there. I think we've got to open some people's eyes. But I think the main important purpose of this is to make people understand that if you don't promote yourself, then people like that will get big, and a lot of people will follow them. That's how cults start, isn't it?
Now, going back to the wonderful world of YouTube, have you seen any vids lately that sort of float your boat? Have you got anything you'd like to share?
I got one I saw on the blog, which is really good, with a German action actor.
Right.
He does a skipping rope. He uses it as a whip, as a 9-section staff, or a a whip, if you like, or a chain, spear kind of thing.
Rope dart.
Rope dart, they call them all sorts of
Yeah,
things. Yeah. Everyone calls them differently, you know.
Well, let's have a look at this. Why does this sort of float your boat, by the way? Is it just,
I just like the way he utilizes skipping rope, and I think he's, he's got some skill there, and I too can skip round a skipping rope a couple of times before I start throwing around and going, oh crap.
Well, let's check it out. So let's have a look at this guy do stuff. Well, that was pretty good. I did enjoy that. I liked. Yeah, I liked it. That. Yeah. That was really good. Do you know Jet Li did something similar in a film called Romeo Must Die? But you know what he used instead of a rope dart? He used a fire hose. So he whizzed it around his legs and like that. Yeah. Back years ago, I trained a lot of that. With a skipping rope. Funny enough, waited. I could do I could wrap it around my neck, go through. I could do a kick and shoot it out backwards behind me. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. I messed around with it a lot, and I just copied gently. But I had other things to be studying. But I kind of like that weapon. It's kind of groovy. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's
look good.
I like it.
I'm sure he does some good stuff. He's like the German version of Scott Adkins.
Yeah,
seems that way.
Right. Yeah.
So I liked him.
Cool. Now, going back to the wonderful world of YouTube, have you seen any vids lately that sort of float your boat? Have you got anything you'd like to share?
I got one I saw on the blog, which is really good, with a German action actor. He does a skipping rope. He uses it as a whip, as a 9-section staff, or a whip, chain, if you like, or a chain, spear kind of thing.
Rope dart.
Rope dart, they call them all sorts of things. Yeah. Everyone calls them differently,
Well, let's have a look at this. Why does this sort of float your boat, by the way? Is it just?
I just like the way he utilizes skipping rope, and I think he's got some skill there, and I too can skip round a skipping rope a couple of times before I start throwing around and going, oh crap.
Well, let's check it out. So let's have a look at this guy do stuff. Yeah. Well, that was pretty good. I did enjoy that. I liked. Yeah, I liked it. Love that. Yeah. That was really good. Do you know Jet Li did something similar in a film called Romeo Must Die? But you know what he used instead of a rope dart? He used a fire hose. So he whizzed it around his legs and like that. Yeah. Back years ago, I trained a lot of that. With a skipping rope. Funny enough, waited. I could do I could wrap it around my neck, go through. I could do a kick and shoot it out backwards behind me. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. I messed around with it a lot, and I just copied gently. But I had other things to be studying. But I kind of like that weapon. It's kind of groovy. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Yeah,
look good.
I like it.
I'm sure he does some good stuff. He's like the German version of Scott Adkins.
Yeah,
seems that way.
Right. Yeah.
So I liked him.
Cool. Oh well. I've got a video which I'm kind of, which I won't lie to you. I like some of it, but I don't like the rest of it. Okay. Now,
show us.
I will. This video is from a channel over here in the UK called Fight Bible, right? And it's Brad and Joe, and they, two British guys, and they are talking about I'll give you some background on the vid. They're basically saying about punching with which knuckles is it better to punch with, the two big ones, or like Wing Chun tend to do, you know, generalizing, I know, or, you know, or is it the small one, the bottom three? And they're also talking a bit about sort of strategies in self-defense at the end. So, like I said, I like some of this video, and I'll tell you what I like, and then I'll tell you why I don't like it well, okay? Here's the video, and I've edited it down, you know, but if you do want to watch the full video, you know, I will put it, I will link it. But yeah, I've sort of edited down to the bits that I wanted to show you. Check it out.
The boxer fracture, this little bugger here, this little metacarpal at the end, little lower one. Boxers, if you look at most of them, they do actually punch with these two knuckles. And there's a lot of reason to that. As I hit here, you can see, this is all in line. These two run across the ulnar radius here. See, if I hit with these three, and it goes all the way through here, it all looks good, yeah? Until you realise these bones are super weak. Super weak. They're really, really small and skinny. I've got to be honest with you, I don't really know why Kung Fu guys hit with these three. I got a feeling, I got an inkling of an idea. I think it's because when they actually punch in Kung Fu, or when they're doing the Wing Chun punches, and I'm not really good at this position with the way, so don't judge on it, and they do their chain punches here. It's not actually a powerful strike. You're not loading your whole body up, bang, and cracking it in. I mean, it's still not nice, you still want to get hit by it, but you'd rather get hit by 10 of them than one great big Mike Tyson overhand right or a big body shot left hook. If you were to load this up, so like Harry was saying, or a bit more square arm for the Wing Chun. I'm not very good at chain punching because I've never trained it, and I'm glad I haven't. Right, if I were to load this big punch up now, all the way back here, bang, I can already feel it. Something going in there, something's not going on quite well.
Conditioning your knuckles for a self-defense situation, probably not the smartest thing to do. Because in a self-defense situation, you just want to hit them with whatever you can. If you break your knuckle, you break your knuckle, shit happens. Obviously, if you are a trained fighter, this will come instinctively. A lot of self-defense guys teach to obviously hit with palms, and elbows and backhands and open palm stuff, you know, Bass Rutten style. But if you can't train how to punch something, who's to say that that's gonna work? If you've trained this enough, you will never need this. So to teach someone one or the other seems a bit stupid. In a self-defense situation, if you break your hand, fucking just be glad you're not dead. It's the best way you can really say it. It's not worth it.
It's the last thing on your mind.
So I think watching that, you can see which bits I like and agree with, but you can definitely see what I don't agree with. All right. Now, I'm just going to play one video to illustrate my point, and then we'll talk about this. All right. So bear in mind, you know, what was just being said. All right, and I want you to watch this. Okay. Can I just say, I love it. I think that was in Canada, because who else would knock someone out then put them in the recovery position? Right. So, going back to the video. So there's an example of someone slapping someone, albeit, yeah, it was a slightly bigger guy, but whatever. He slapped someone with his palm.
You're not going to just slap one. You're going to hook it. You're going to hook a slap. What really gets me about what you just played me with that guy talking about, you know, oh, if you don't train that, then it's a waste of time. So train that. Well, this takes more training than that. So right. Doing self-defense, right, first off, that is open to being broken. They've already said it. They've answered their own question. So if you don't train it, you're going to break it. So train something that's a damn sight less likely to get hurt.
Well, you're less likely to fracture your hand if you're striking someone with a palm, right? Number one.
And you can create as much energy as a punch. So what difference does it make?
So I'll
Except
give you,
less training.
Yeah, let's discuss about what the big dude Brad was saying. Now, he was suggesting that when we make a punch, a common fracture for boxers to endure is the boxer's fracture of this little knuckle. And he's basically suggesting that we punch with the big knuckles, right? And he's generalizing, I think, when he says that Wing Chun tend to punch with the bottom three. Now, I'm not disagreeing that. There are many different schools of Wing Chun, but the general consensus with Wing Chun, okay, is yes, they are punching upwards, okay, to a point. Now, I'll explain why. The logic in Wing Chun, okay, the logic in Wing Chun is that we are not punching with our waist or our arm, we're punching with our whole body. Now, how that translates to punching upwards is they're basically saying from a root, from your feet, you're adjusting and punching upwards, okay? Driving that energy up, I suppose, in some sort of upward angle, so increasing the force of this punch. That's the basic argument. I'm not saying every Wing Chun style does it, but that would be the argument per se from a lot of Wing Chun people. We're not punching we're driving these punches upwards. What I absolutely concede is that these three knuckles, they are weaker, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to punch someone, and let's just use the head, for example, because remember, not all punches were designed to punch the head, if any. It's a big, thick bone. But there you go, right?
That's why they wear gloves.
If you are going to punch, right? So if you are going to punch with these bottom three knuckles, you run the risk of breaking them unless you are targeting something soft, the body, the solar plexus, etc. Okay, so that would be a reason why Wing Chun do it. So what Big Brad there is saying about lining up your fist, punching with these two knuckles, I think is technically fine, brilliant. This guy's had a lot of fighting experience. He's an ex-MMA fighter, etc. That alone, doesn't make you, qualified. But I mean, for Christ's sake,
instead they'd give us science. There was no science then.
Right.
There was just logic in his logic.
Right. Okay. So we're looking at the. So if you're going to sort of talk about punching, right, you have to do it from a general point of view. You can't just rely on your experience and your fighting style, your size, etc., to be able to translate to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Martial arts is about different people, different sizes. So when you generalize,
different things, different targets.
Right. When you generalize because it's something you've experienced and works for you, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I think Brad, big guy, the first guy, was saying was, look, a lot of people are going to fracture their knuckles, and the reason is
he's right.
And he's bang on right. The reason is I want everybody to understand this at home listening, and you can correct me as if I'm wrong, Mr. Newb. You correct me. You correct away. When you punch, specific punches, you do not have a wrist. The wrist does not exist when you punch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about straight punches, uppercuts, or hooks, generally the wrist, in fact, all the time, the wrist doesn't exist. Okay. This is an example, right? So the wrist there, the forearm is flat, it's lined up, and it's naturally lined up. If you do this, you see how it's curved up? You immediately bring the wrist into play, and it's a weak thing.
You also bring the knuckles into play.
Right, yeah. How many karate pictures have you seen, and indeed kung fu pictures, of people punching out and what ends up forming a fist like that? It's like, well, if you're going to punch someone like that, chance
that never translates into a video punching a bag. They never punch anything. So that's the problem. So when you see Wing Chun people punching, it's highly unlikely that they've ever punched a bag, so they wouldn't know that. So it's only him looking at people who've never punched a bag and becoming prejudiced against people who've not punched a bag. When someone's punched a bag, they'll quickly learn. Remember, you're making a punch straight then whether you do it this way, which is safer, or this way, which is faster, which is why you do a jab like so, okay, in Wing Chun, but also you're punching to a target, which is a different shape. So you're not hitting a bag.
Yes.
If you hit a bag like that, you will hit it with these first, and therefore it will break or twist your wrist. But if you're hitting a target which is shaped and you're aiming at the shape of the target, your fist is going up. And remember, it doesn't hit at this point. They're going out and to almost, you know, straighten. And when it's straight, the knuckles will be straight too. So they're not actually hitting with the bottom knuckles. They're actually hitting with the whole fist by the time they get out there. And then he's not even considering the fact that when people train, they also train a single knuckle. And they're not aiming specifically to create a massive amount of energy. They're trying to create their energy in a much smaller place. So you don't have to hit as hard to create as much energy, depending again on the target. And because you've got no gloves on, it's a completely different ball game.
This is so when you try and generalize a technique, but you do it from a sport point of view, right?
He's doing it from his own experience,
right? And that's fine. That's his experience, and you know he'd argue the toss, and I would support that. You know, I do, but you know, on a basic level, right? We talk about this wrist thing. You know, flat, strong, no wrist. That's a wrist. That's a wrist. Wing Chun.
But no one's going to punch like that
as well. No, no.
But they're punching at the body when they do that. They're trying to create energy. And in addition, it's like in Kung Fu, you might punch, you hit like that, then you hit like that, then you hit like that. Then you might hit with the wrist. Well, you're not expecting to hit a solid target like that, like a bag.
So if you're going to punch someone in the skull, and I'll prove it. All you need to do is look at an accident and emergency record on a Saturday night. How many people have fractured hands? Because number one,
a lot more.
They're punching each other in the skull or in the face. Punches. So Kung Fu is an open hand style predominantly. No exceptions. It always has been, right?
Yes.
Why is it an open hand style?
Because it's
you
faster.
Want to retain the ability. Faster. Right.
It's faster to different things. Every time you make a fist, you can't grab. So if you're going to start boxing now, you can't grab. You have to let go to grab. So it's going to take a lot longer. If you have your hands open in the first place, you're going to be able to hit in any shape or form and further with a longer reach. But yes, you cannot generate the same energy, but you don't have to generate the same energy. It's not important. He's talking about a 45 caliber bullet going at 450 feet a second compared to a 22 going at like a few thousand feet a second. What's going to be the most devastating? Well, they have different reasons. Both of them are bad. They're both bad. So, but they both do the job.
Great analogy.
So it's really important. I mean, what do you want to be hit with? Well, you're going to, you know.
I don't want to be hit at all. Number one.
And that's why you're going to have your hands open, and you don't want to make a fist. But if you do make a fist, it's at a point where you know you can, not in preparation for the fight, but after the event or within the event, you change that. So that guy that just knocked the guy out with a slap, that's it. Poking in the eye. You know, I could break my finger if I miss your eye. Well, I better train then, hadn't I? Just the same as if I punch you in the skull, I could break my knuckle. I'd better train more. But you don't need to train, you know, power. You only need to train accuracy.
Right, and that's the secret one that we don't talk about. We talk about speed, distance, timing, you know,
accuracy.
Power, but we don't necessarily talk about accuracy as much. So accuracy is that hidden, that little one that's hidden. Whoever said, and I absolutely, you know, I understand his gripe with, you know, punching like that, and he's
seeing too much crap.
But he's not wrong in his perception. He's not wrong in his perception. there's a lot of people teaching, oh, you push up, right? Bad.
Yeah, because they've never punched a bag. But the other thing, I mean, talking about that slap, I mean, all these techniques do not need the same amount of energy. The whole point of having a single knuckles is so that you don't have to use that energy. But remember, a punch was never meant to be used. Think about pugilism. Think about the origins of boxing, right? How long did the fights last? How long did the fights last?
Not very long.
About two,
not very long.
maybe a minute, if that. You know why they started wearing gloves and started hitting harder? Is because the other guy was hitting harder? No, nothing to do with that. It's because they wanted the fights to last longer.
Yes.
That's why. They wanted the fights to last longer, so it become more of a publicity, more of a public sport.
Money.
And it became more lucrative financially. That's why they wear bloody gloves, not to protect the boxers.
No, it's that's it. But
it's to keep the boxers standing long enough to draw a crowd.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it's a waste of time. You get a few people betting, and that's it. They're gone.
Yeah,
it's like a dog fight. It's like a bloody hen fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cockfight.
No, but whatever the reasons for the morality of pugilism or whatever, it is what it is. But
yeah, no, I'm not talking about the morality. I'm just talking about the science of it. The simple fact is it never lasted long enough. That's the reason they've started hitting harder, because now they got gloves. They had to bloody hit harder to cause some damage. But they got gloves on, cushions. And so they'll start breaking their knuckles.
Well, gloves protect the knuckles because it's a big, thick pad. But what?
Exactly.
But the wraps are going to protect the wrist, because you don't want to bend your wrist when you punch. So you've got now. Look, for what a boxer does, right, is he trains, punch that bag with the gloves on, etc. Right, so he's constantly protected. What that actually does, and believe this is very logical in what I'm about to say. What it actually does is promotes a false sense of punching, right? Because when you train, when you wrap your hand, you put it in the glove, you can't actually make a fist with a wrapped hand. It's probably like that. There's a sort of gap because there's so much wrapping around it. So but you've got a supported wrist. You've got protection with the glove. So when you punch a bag, when you spar with your opponent in a ring, you've got a false sense of making a wrist. If we're talking traditionally, all right, we're talking about the techniques of kung fu, straight punches, flat punches, the multitude and variations of every kind of punch, back fist, whatever punch. The point is, it has to be done, with a strong, solid, unified,
because you don't wear wraps
and conditions.
Because you don't have to last that long. That's the biggest argument here is the history of it, right? Not the morality of it. I'm not talking about. I'm going to repeat myself here, but simply, pugilism was the same. Kung fu is pugilism. When you were fighting, right? If you were fighting a contest or whatever, it would last minutes or seconds. And so you didn't have, you hit the guy with the best intentions, it's going to hurt him, okay? And it's going to finish the fight. The most important thing about that is it can't make money, apart from the bettors, the ones that bet in cockfights, the one that bet in dogfights, the one that bet in boxing matches or pugilistic matches. Right, it's not going to last that long. You're not going to get that many people watching. It's not a spectator sport. As soon as you put gloves on, you protect the person. So therefore, the person's not going to go down as quickly. Okay, and now that's going to make your objective of winning a lot harder. And because it makes it a lot harder, you got to hit harder. And because you hit harder, that's when you have to protect your arms even more, your hands even more, your wrists even more. In which sooner or later, you are going to damage your knuckles because they are not meant to strike that hard. They are flesh and bone, and they are not meant to hit solid objects like a bloody wall or a head, right? Yeah. So that's why they do it. So, but the whole point is missing. See, that's the history of that. Now, you take that away, you take those gloves off again, how hard do you have to hit a person to hurt him? And then when you create a knuckle or you poke his eyes out, how hard do you have to hit that person? You don't have to hit him any harder, okay? So the only reason he's had to build up his wrists so they don't break is because of the sport, and for no other. It's got nothing to do with self-defense at all. Okay, you don't have to hit that hard in self-defense. Yeah, if he's going to hit someone in the street, that's going to hurt them big time because he's trained to do it, and that's what makes boxers quite potentially dangerous. But the issue is, if he's going to pull his arm back like he did, and the guy who's trained in a good martial art is just going to go boom with his fingers, that hand coming back is not going to save him. And if the other guy's kicking him, and if the other guy's kicking him in the groin, it's obsolete. The fist is obsolete. Okay? But I'm not taking away the fact that if he's trained and he can punch hard, you've got to be damn good to fight him. Okay? You've got to be a fighter to fight him. And that's it. But you don't have to hit that hard. That's my whole argument. You do not have to hit that hard.
And this is, but this argument, the scope of it is what drives people these days, talking about, oh, what's a legit fight? Is he a legit fighter? Is he legit? Everything is derived from the base level. The baseline is sport. Right, because we can't quantify self-defense. You just can't. Because if it works, chances are you won't hear about it. But hey, let's get a boxing match. You'll see it. Muay Thai on the telly, MMA in your face. You can quantify it a lot better because you're seeing it visually, and your brain says that works. That's great. Obviously, that's real.
Yeah, but when you're looking at MMA, though, sorry, James, when you look at an MMA, they're not going to be wearing the big gloves. They're going to be wearing, bag gloves, basically fingerless gloves, so that they can actually grab as well.
They can grab,
exactly. So look at the fight then. How many boxers do you see in those kind of fights? Because once they've hit a few times, you don't want to be hit anymore. You've got to get him on the floor. So if you're fighting a boxer, you want to get him on the floor. If a boxer's fighting someone who likes to grapple, he's going to try and stay on the ground, on his feet, punching and kicking as well. And so you've got these different opinions, and they change all the time, don't they? Oh, it's great to grapple, it's the best thing. Then, oh no, it's great to kick and punch.
It's a circle.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending circle of grappling,
and it's a never-ending argument.
Boxing beats grappling, and it goes on and on and on. Now, going back to the video...
It's an individual thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, be careful not to judge other reasons or other types of punches. He was just arguing the manner in which they punch in his fit. I understand that. But
I would totally agree with him about the smaller knuckles, but no one punches like that.
100%. But I don't agree
people who
with
don't actually punch.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But if we make an off-the-quip remark, like, I'm glad I haven't trained this punch, then I think to myself, right, okay, fair enough, that's your opinion, but do you understand why it would be trained, first and foremost? Okay, that's what I would suggest. Secondly, right, let's go on to the point where the chap at the end, Joe, he kind of makes the point that, listen, if you can't throw a punch, doing a palm, is rendered obsolete. Okay, I had a major problem with that. Okay, because
and that's why that was my argument.
Yes, absolutely. So I think you have to, if you're going to talk about that. All right, it's not a question of experience. You could tell me you've had 100 fights or whatever. I don't care. What it is, it's just science, right? Are you less likely to destroy or damage yourself when you slap someone with the palm than when you punch someone? No. It's the same. The elbow, it's a big bone. You're less likely to destroy yourself. And when we look at Kung Fu, I mean, just to use, for example, we use the stick, right? I use this as a weird example, right? When you strike someone with a stick, you are twisting it. What's the intention of that? Yeah, you could say, oh, generate a bit more power, but it's preservation of the weapon itself.
As well, yeah.
You're not going to punch someone in the skull and risk breaking your knuckle. And no, you don't just have to accept that. What you're conflating there is technical logic and science in place of machismo and just that fighting spirit, right? Whatever happens in a fight, you can't determine the outcome, all right? You can't. If you punch someone, who's to say that they're not going to cover it or, elbow or whatever? you don't know if you're not going to break yourself, but you can take certain measures. You can, employ tactics, and hopefully nothing happens. If it does, then you deal with it then. But to say just accept the fact that you're going to have a broken knuckle, no, no good. Okay, I really disagree with that, because that's dangerous.
Yeah, well,
no one should have to approach it with that.
I think where he's got that from basically is people who do brawl in the street and don't train their fists.
Yeah,
will break their knuckles. As you said, more people in hospital with broken knuckles than bad heads.
Yeah,
simple.
100%.
And so I agree with him in that, but he's looking the wrong way.
Yeah,
he's making the wrong point. Because punch someone in the street in a brawl, but just like that guy you showed on the video, slap is enough. He could have poked him in the eye. He could have poked him in the throat. He could have kicked him in the groin. He could have done a million of things without making a fist. Because the second he makes a fist, the time it takes to make that fist, if that guy is trained, we'll see that happening.
Well,
you won't see it if someone just lifts their hand up and just pokes your hand in the eye.
Yeah, well,
that's it. So it's a lot. There's a lot of argument there, and obviously
there is a lot of argument, and I kind of, like I said, I like the video. I like what these guys are trying to do. I respect you call out crap, and that's important because you need to.
Well,
and actually,
they ain't being scientific. They're not being scientific. They're just being sportsmen.
Right, there you go. Right, so you've got to define
sports science, but it ain't martial science.
Right. Okay. So we have to define the boundaries by which we're talking about things. Right.
They've defined it by the sport.
You can't conflate the two. You cannot conflate the two. How many boxers do you know have been knocked out? I mean, Kell Brook. He's one of the boxers recently who's just got mugged. And it's just like, no matter how good you are, anything can happen, right? So let's have a baseline. I'll tell you what, before we finish, it's worth saying, like I said, I like the direction these guys are going. Yeah. And what happened to them before? They were actually banned from YouTube.
Oh, why is that?
Right. They were banned from YouTube. Well, because they had opinions, right?
All right.
Whether you agree or disagree with their opinions on martial arts, and
they shouldn't be banned. They're entitled to their opinions, aren't they?
100%.
And if it wasn't for them playing a video like that, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. We like to make we love their opinion. We love conjecture. So that's important.
We do.
But just because I disagree with them
anyway,
to a point anyway. I understand about building knuckles up if you're going to use them, and if you're going to use them in a boxing match, most definitely you've got to train them because you're protected by that glove, and you've just got to hit harder, and that's what happens. You hit harder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The stick's only so strong.
No, that's great.
You hit someone hard enough, the stick will break. But if you hit them in the right place, you don't have to hit them so hard. So.
Absolutely right. Well, there you go. Well, we've had a nice bit of a conflab, haven't we, for our first one back?
Yeah.
We I enjoyed that. It was kind of a bit different. Play the old vids now and then. A bit different. Oh. Anyway, we are going to make a swift exit. And we'd like to thank you again for joining us. And we really appreciate, and I want to say, I really appreciate all the support we've had from across the pond. All the downloads we've had in the time we've been off. We really appreciate that. As always, you disagree with anything we say, send us a message. You agree, send us a message. Ask questions. Let's interact or whatever. Go on YouTube, give us a like. Go on Facebook, give us a like. Guys. We can't tell you how grateful we are for you listening and joining us. All right, it means a lot.
If you do Shaolin Do, contact us.
Yes,
we'll go on the booze.
Yeah, Jesus. Right, guys, take care of yourself. From me, James Still, it's goodbye.
And from me, it's goodbye.
Steve Newby, it's goodbye. Take care, guys. All the best. See you soon.
Bye.
Oh, it came out finally. Thank you. See you now. Bye-bye.
Assume I kick your little Beijing ass right now, man. I ain't scared of you. I know you know that little tricky shit. Come on.
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Kung Fu Podcast. If you like that and you want to find out more about us, you can head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or YouTube and find us under SJN Martial Arts. And also guys, this podcast is available on Podbean and iTunes. So until next time, take care of yourselves and we'll see you again on the Kung Fu Podcast.
Pushy little bastard, ain't you?
Can you break a log like that?
Don't know. Never been attacked by a tree.